Thank you, Mr. Finnessey. Shout out to you.
Congratulations for retiring, and thank you for challenging me and expanding on my French.
My favorite thing in French class is to play Scrabble.
My favorite thing about French is watching the music videos. Congratulations on retirement.
My favorite thing is playing Scrabble in French, and congratulations.
Congrats on retiring, we'll miss you.
Congrats on retiring.
Congrats on retirement.
Congrats on retiring.
Thank you for being a great teacher. We'll miss you.
I wanted to start off by saying thank you.
Thanks for being my favorite teacher ever.
Okay. I don't know. I would say that like Mr. Finnessey is really like a man of most kinda. Like he's probably has the most dry sense of humor that anybody will ever see. He's probably one of the most intelligent people that you will ever meet. And I don't know, he's probably one of the nicest guys that I've ever really had to come in contact with or I had as a teacher. And he's by far probably my favorite teacher. But I'm really just thankful that I was had the experience and the ability to have him as a teacher, and that he really just sets all of his students on his path for success in life, and I'm just thankful for that.
Congratulations, Mr. Finnessey, on your retirement, and I also wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to go to Paris with you, and I appreciate that because that was a trip of a lifetime, and I thank you and have a wonderful retirement.
All right, congratulations on retiring, and thank you again for scraping off my car the day that I had 100 bags. I really appreciate it. Enjoy your next adventure.
Mr. Finnessey, I'd like to take a moment to thank you for your friendship, your educational connection that we've had. You've been a wonderful role model for me when I got here as a new counselor. You are an excellent person for our students, for our faculty. I love sitting next to you at cabinet meetings because when they're not so interesting, you make them fun. I wish you the best of luck in retirement. We certainly will miss you here, but are excited for you to go out and do some new and exciting things. It's well deserved. You put in a lot of time here at Owego Free Academy, and I'm sure your next venture will be equally as fun for you. So take care, Finn Man. We'll miss you, and enjoy your life. Bye.
On my first college visit, I sat with the French professor, and as she began to tell me about her class, the first thing that came to my head was, oh my gosh, Mr. Finnessey's not going to be my French teacher anymore. And that was all I could think about for the rest of the conversation, and how I've had you for the past 5 years, and I can't imagine not being in your class. And by the end, she asked me a question, and I had no idea what she'd asked, because all I was thinking about was your class and how much fun it's been. I'm really going to miss you, Mr. Finnessey, and I know there are a lot of others who are going to as well.
Hi, Mr. Finnessey. I just heard that you're retiring, and I'm really sad about it because none of these kids are going to get to be able to meet you and know who you are and love talking about you. So I hope your retirement is wonderful.
So, I've worked with Mr. Finnessey for 11 years now, and it's kind of sad to see him go. He's just always been a part of the department, and it'll be very weird without him. There's Papa Finnessey here, and he took care of his girls in the department, so man, I'm gonna have to be responsible for myself now. I don't know. So happy retirement, enjoy it, you deserve it. Thank you so much. Okay.
Tim Finnessey. To think about Tim Finnessey not being at an OFA, it stirs a lot of emotion. For me, it makes me sad, but then I start to reflect on the man that Tim Finnessey is. And Tim, you might not be very comfortable with this, but I'm going to let the world in on a secret that they need to know. Tim Finnessey is not just a French teacher. He's a superhero, and his name is Stone. When I say the word Stone, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I know Spider-Man, I know Batman, I know Wonder Woman. I don't know Stone. Is Stone a new Marvel character? Is there a new movie coming out next week that I haven't seen the trailer for 3,000 times, like the Han Solo thing? No, you haven't heard about it because he's kept it under wraps somehow. Stone is Tim Finnessey. When we think about a stone, a lot of us think of strength. Yes, that's true. Tim Finnessey is one of the strongest people I know. He's dealt with adversity through his 33-year teaching career. He's dealt with adversity through life. And he's been strong through it all. And he is strength. He's also strong to all of us here at Owego Free Academy. Not to make anyone cry, but one of my fond memories is when my dad was going through some bad health and eventually passed away. One of the people to reach out to me was the strong, superhero-like man, Stone, who called to check on me, which I will always remember. Stone also rocks. Have you seen Mr. Finnessey rap? This is a marvel to mankind that if you haven't seen before, you need to see. Just be careful what's going to come out of his mouth. That's going to be wonderful. Stone can be a lot of things. He improves the lives of us. That's his superhero ability here at Owego Free Academy, which we're going to miss immensely with him not being here. Your random humor, Tim, makes me sad to think that I'm not going to hear, and this year I haven't heard as frequently as I wanted to. That's my fault. I needed to get out and encounter you, and hopefully recording this video will remind me to make sure to do that a lot more and not take that for granted because you're going to be gone here. But you're going to retire. You're going to do wonderful things. You're going to do things on your own terms. But I'm hoping that I'll run into you a lot because you are my superhero, Mr. Tim Finnessey. You are my Stone. You do rock. You bring a smile to my face every single day, whether I see you or I think of you. I love you, man, and I will miss you, but you'll be around. Have a great retirement.
Having you in our lives, Mr. Finnessey, has given us some of our favorite memories.
Congratulations on retiring. My favorite memory is him scraping off all the cars in the parking lot for everybody, which he always does. The nicest man ever.
So my best memories of Mr. Finnessey is anytime it snows, you go out to the parking lot and you find your windshields are completely cleared off and the snow has been brushed off of the top of your car, and you realize he has gone around to every car out in the parking lot and cleared every single car. And I have always been so grateful to not have to deal with that on top of everything else at the end of the day. So, merci, Mr. Finnessey.
Okay, my favorite memory of Mr. Finnessey is every time it snows, he goes out, cleans off all of our windows, all the girls anyway, not really the guys. And I love him for that. He's so kind. And in those cabinet meetings, when I'm sure he wants to scream his guts out and say, this is absolutely ridiculous, he just sits there and nods his head and just stays quiet. So there are many memories of you, Tim, and nobody's going to be able to replace you. So happy retirement.
Tim, my favorite memory is also my first memory of you. I remember it was my first day in the building and I was sitting at my desk and we had just gone through the first faculty meeting of the year, and you recognized that I didn't entertain the embarrassing dance that I was asked to do. And so you came in and you instantly made a connection. You made me feel like a welcome member of the faculty. So I want to tell you I appreciate it, even though I don't think I ever did. So thank you, Tim. Good luck in your retirement, and I'll help pass the tradition or carry on the tradition of cleaning off people's windshields.
Aww.
Thank you.
Yay, hi Tim. One of my memories of you was, I think, the same as Mr. Swider, one of my first years teaching. And of course, you know, I live out in Ithaca, and many times when we used to get the phone call playing the phone tree for snow days, many times I was already on my way here by the time I got the phone call because I left so early in the morning. Although we all know that you are also here very early in the morning. So we ran into each other in the copier room, and I just remember you saying, "What are you doing here? School's closed, it's gonna start snowing, you need to leave, you need to get home, it's not safe to be out there." And I just remember like just feeling so good that, oh, someone cares, and that just always seemed to be what you did the first, excuse me, I'm getting choked up. The first couple of years. you just always stop by. You stopped into my room, strategically located outside the bathroom. But you would stop into my room and just check in, see how I was doing. You know, when I had Canada stuff on my board, you always loved to talk to me about Canada and France. And I remember you saying, I can't believe anyone teaches this. So I'm gonna miss you. We're gonna miss you here. So good luck in your retirement and enjoy it.
So one of my favorite memories of Mr. Finnessey is the fact that if we walked in together, I knew that when I came up to my room, my lights would be on and my door would be propped open, all ready for me to go. I didn't have to fish out my keys or anything. So he was always very thoughtful and kind, and really miss him. I really will.
Okay, so my best memory of Mr. Finnessey is his sense of humor. Though I don't remember a particular joke, I remember him always having this dry wit, and he always made me laugh, especially when I needed it. Another memory I remember is I had a student in study hall one day, and she was a promising French student, and he asked me to find out surreptitiously what her favorite books were in English, because he wanted to purchase them for her in French, and he didn't want her to find out about it. So I did that. So we were complicit together to get books for the student, and those are some of my favorite memories of Mr. Finnessey.
My favorite moment, something I'll never forget, is my first year teaching. You randomly put a $5 Dunkin' gift card in my mailbox. Made my day, and I'll always remember that. Have a great retirement.
My favorite thing about French class and Mr. Finnessey is the way that he lays down his rhymes and raps for us. It's really funny.
Okay, one of my favorite memories with Mr. Finnessey was when we had a fire drill in our class and I was wearing clothes not prepared for the weather, and he gave me his jacket to make sure that I wasn't cold.
Okay, so Mr. Finnessey is known for saying some funny stuff, and you like look at it out of context and it makes no sense. So one of my personal favorites is when he said, "Those black jelly beans I stomped in the ground. I'm sorry for my confession. I've been keeping that in since I was 6.
Hey TFin, definitely gonna miss you. I think I'm probably one of the biggest characters you've ever had to deal with in your class. From what I hear, you talk about me a lot and bring me up in a lot of the classes still. But I just want to share my favorite memory of you is definitely having that dance battle that'll live on through people's phones for many years to come. Good luck with everything.
Dance battle.
Yeah! TFin declares the winner.
Oh! Well, I remember when you told us the story about how your friend cut the cars in half and then welded them together and it worked. So that was a pretty cool thing. And if you could do a project like that when you're retired.
My favorite Mr. Finnessey moment is when he did his Mr. Gatto impression.
My favorite is the gorilla on the elevator.
Have a fun retirement, Mr. Finnessey.
Tim Finnessey, have you thought about this? Have you ever seen Tim Finnessey and Chuck Norris in the same room? Have you? I don't think you have. Now, go on YouTube or Google or whatever you crazy kids are looking at nowadays and go and search Chuck Norris facts or Chuck Norris jokes. Take Chuck Norris out and put Tim Finnessey in there. You do that a couple times, you'll know exactly what I mean. It all makes sense. Go do it now. There's another thing you need to know about Tim Finnessey. If you don't know Tim Finnessey, well, shame on you. But if you do know Tim Finnessey, you know the man has an incredible sense of humor. And I always tell people, and I tell new students that have French on their schedule and they're first coming to We Go Freak Academy, I tell them this so they don't think they're less of a human being, because they're not. But Tim Finnessey can start a joke at a normal level. Like, ha ha ha, that was a great joke. You get done laughing. That's not it. Tim Finnessey takes it to the next level. He then inserts another level of intelligence that you're still hanging with. It's like, you know, did you know how many donuts are in a donut hole or something like that, and you're like, oh, I can start to calculate that. Yes, I got that. But then Tim Finnessey takes it to another level, and he absolutely blows your mind. When that happens, ladies and gentlemen, do not think you're stupid. You're just not as smart as Tim Finnessey. That's all.
You've been a great role model for us. You've had a huge impact on us.
Okay, so Mr. Finnessey is an awesome teacher, and I love all the stories he tells in class, and that's it.
Mr. Finnessey has been a really special person in my life. I actually had the privilege of being his student for 2 years, and at first I was really nervous learning French, being that I just studied Spanish, and he actually came to my house in the summer, the fall before the fall of my junior year, and he came with materials, and he was more than willing to help me get a good start, starting French too, and that's something I appreciate to this day. And I also have the privilege of working with him now as a colleague, and he's really going to be missed. He is a special character, and we appreciate you, Mr. Finnessey.
Okay, so I'm obviously like a freshman. I haven't had you for a while, but I already like realized who you were as a person. How much of like you're like not just a teacher, you're like a father to a lot of us. Cause like you gave me your sweatshirt and your jacket, and like that's obviously something like my dad would do. Like if I was cold, and like that's not like relatable, but like that's so great that you do that for us, and like you treat us like that, and you are more than just a teacher to us. Like you don't teach us just French and stuff. You teach us how to be like mature adults and how to respect each other and stuff, and I love that. Thank you for that.
Okay, Mr. Finnessey, you're honestly one of the nicest, most genuine people I've ever met, and it's like literally today you dug through garbage to find my retainer. Like I'm a mess 90% of the time, and like I look forward to your class every single day. Like my morning can be rough sometimes. I'm not a morning person, but like second period is one of my favorite moments of my day. You're always making me laugh and making all of us smile, and like you're always teaching us like not like I learned more French this year than I have in the past 2 years because reasons. But like but you're teaching me so much about French and about culture and people and things about the US I didn't even know. And you're just teaching us like good people skills, and you're just a really good guy. And I'm really happy that I can say I had you as a teacher. I haven't had you long, but I definitely feel like you've made a big impact on my life, and I love you for it.
Hi, Mr. Finnessey. You were one of my favorite teachers in high school, and I appreciate that you let me tag along on the trips to Montreal. Some really great memories. I wish you all the best in your retirement, and thank you for all that you taught me when I was in the illegal schools.
Bonjour, Mr. Finnessey. I just wanted to tell you that you changed my high school career. I loved French, I love you, and the life lessons you give us, and you will forever be one of my favorite teachers, so thank you.
Bonjour, Mr. Finnessey. Je m'appelle Jacques, et maintenant je suis de Syracuse. Hi, Mr. Finnessey. This is Mike Harders. I had you back in middle school, the 7th, 8th grade, probably in the early 90s. I did recently hear that you're going to be retiring at the end of the school year, and I wanted to wish you a very happy retirement and wish you the very best. I did want to say, too, thank you very much for all that you've done for me. I actually did make it to Paris and had a wonderful time for my honeymoon with my wife. And I'm sure that you've done an outstanding job with not just myself, but for all of the other students at the Illegal Appalachian School District. A bientôt.
Cher Mr. Finnessey, enjoy retirement. Thank you so much for everything. You've always been a friend and a mentor to everyone, and I could not appreciate it more. Thank you so much. OFA is losing the best teacher they have, but you deserve every minute of retirement for all of your hard work. Thank you again. Enjoy. Bye.
Hi, I'm Carrie Govas, but when I was in Mr. Finnessey's class, my name was Carrie Johnston. I graduated in the class of 98, and we were fortunate enough to have Mr. Finnessey in both middle school and high school. So we were his small little French 5 class who had known each other and been in the same French class since 7th grade, so it was very cool, and everything definitely came around in full circle. It was nice to be able to start and finish with the same guy that gave us all such a love of the French culture. I remember in middle school going and eating at a French restaurant and doing different projects that were really very cool. I never got to go to France with school, but I did actually make it there back in 2005, and it was amazing. And because of Mr. Finnessey and the excitement that I think he brings to French, the language, the culture, and everything, I knew it was something that I definitely wanted on my bucket list, and I'm now able to check off. I always appreciated Mr. Finnessey's kindness and just his love of teaching. Thank you very much for that. I do still speak French and read some from time to time, and I will never forget that. So I wish you really well on your retirement, and I just wanted to let you know the impact that you've had. Thank you.
One of the things that I always admired about you is that you always push your students to do better than just good enough. You know, just good enough to pass a test or get a grade. You definitely made me believe that I was capable of a lot more than I ever thought I would be. I always knew I wanted to help people. When I got older, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do, but I can only hope that I'll be as devoted to my patients as you are to your students. I hope you enjoy having more time to yourself, and thank you for everything that you've done for us.
Bonjour, Mr. Finnessey. Merci beaucoup d'être professeur incroyable et gentil. Les exemples de vidéos et chansons que nous avons regardés dans la salle de classe me manquent, mais j'écoute souvent les musiques de chœurs de pirates et Stromae. J'ai aimé les fêtes de Mardi Gras, aussi j'ai aimé des crêpes et des bonbons. Merci d'être professeur dévoué. Vous êtes le meilleur professeur que j'ai jamais eu. J'espère que vous avez une retraite tranquille. Bienvenue, Monsieur Finnessey. Vous nous manquerez.
Get some rest, Mr. Finnessey. You are the best person I ever met. And I hope you have a great retirement. And when I win the lottery, we're going to France. Love you.
Hi, Dad. I know I never took French when I was in high school, but I always consider myself one of your students, and you one of my favorite teachers. So I just want to get this opportunity to say thank you to me and everybody else that you've helped along the way. I know the classroom wasn't an OFA, but it was everywhere we went together, whether it was in the car for the soccer tournaments or any number of family events we go to. And the life lessons could be anywhere from how to play pool, how to be just a typical badass, or just how to be a really good person. And to help me make this video, I needed a little bit more inspiration, so I had a photo of you like 20 years ago right next to me to help me out. Thank you, Dad, for everything.
Mr. Finnessey, Mr. Finn, Finman, Stone, Tim, Timoteo, and countless others. This great man has been called by many names, but a name that I have had the select privilege of calling him is Dad. Since my very first day on the planet, my dad has taught me all the great life lessons. He taught me how to walk, he taught me how to talk. I remember as a child he used to teach my brother and I how to count to 10 and say I love you in French before we went to bed. Through years of toil and patience, he even managed to get my brother and I to get along. Too well at times, perhaps. So my father taught me everything from Abbé de Télème to Zebra. He taught me through years of teaching by example to always do work that you're proud of. A trait that no one who's ever seen him many hours after the last bell is rung working would ever accuse him of lacking. He taught me how to survive with only a dry sense of humor and a quick wit. He taught me through decades and decades of countless interactions with others the immense power of compassion, often in simple, everyday interactions. If I'm not mistaken, a great deal of this very video is a testament to the impact of his, to my understanding, literally never-ending generosity. I've run through this so many times in my head every time I get to the end, I start... Ugh. Okay. And while he has still not finished teaching me how he perfected the quintessential Finnessey family stoicism, I look forward to all of the lessons that he has yet to teach me. I'm so proud of you, Dad. Congratulations.
And the people who want to thank you most...
Mr. Finnessey,
You've been my teacher for 5 years now, and I'm so glad that I took French because you've touched my life in so many ways that you don't even know. And you've always been there. You've always offered help. And I'm really sad to see you leave, but I hope you enjoy your retirement, and I hope you continue to touch people's lives.
Mr. Finnessey, it's very bittersweet that you are retiring. We're definitely going to miss you. I am very thankful that you are retiring on my last year as well, because I wouldn't want to go a school year without being able to take your class, because for the past 4 years it's been so much fun, and you're one of the best teachers that I've ever had. But more than just learning about French and the culture of France and Canada, I mostly enjoyed being a student to such a kind teacher. I remember the first week of classes, actually like the first few months, I didn't think that you liked me very much, and maybe you didn't, but I was scared because I think you cared more than my regular teachers did. And after about a month, I started realizing that you just care a lot about each and every single one of us, and you don't see us as just another student passing through, which I think is really nice. And I really admire that in a teacher, and I hope that when I get my job that I'm just as kind to whomever I'm working above or working with. I also, of course, it was very recently, but I'm beyond thankful when you showed your kindness again when everyone went to Canada and you came back and you had thought about John and I and you brought us the t-shirts. And I know that to some people that might feel like a little thing, but to me that just indicated how much you cared for us and how much we were part of your class. I think that the students who are coming after us are really at a disadvantage because they don't get to experience what it's like to have you as a teacher. I think that you as a teacher should be what almost every teacher should personify. I think that you still bring around like a love for learning, but also just caring about each and every single one of your students. I don't think there will be a day in college where I don't go thinking about your iPhone jokes or Marty B's on, even though he turned out to kind of be a snake. And the creepy little kids who kept knocking on the Canadian bus. Every day you found a way to make us smile or laugh. Because of all those reasons, it is my sincere congratulations, and also with a little bit of melancholy that I wish you a happy retirement. I hope you spend a lot of time with Tiny Kitten and with your wonderful wife and speaking French and traveling the world and emailing us from your pursuits, whatever you do. And I just hope that you have a fantastic retirement and to not forget about your favorite French class.
Thank you so much, Mr. Finnessey, for being such an amazing teacher all throughout high school and even in 8th grade. And I just really want to thank you for making me learn not just about French, but about the world as a whole. And I'll really miss your stories that you tell every day, especially the dating ones. Thank you so much, Mr. Finnessey. Have a happy retirement.
Mr. Finnessey, thank you so much for everything you've done for me and for all of us students taking French throughout the years. I've never met someone with so much passion for what they do, and you continue to inspire us every day to not only be better students, but better people. Even when I was unable to take French this year, you still made sure that I was included in everything and in the trip, and made sure I had the information that I needed to be able to be included just like everyone else. Good luck in retirement, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Mr. Finnessey, I'm so grateful to have had you as my French teacher for the past 5 years. You and your class have been one of my favorite parts of high school, and when I look back on high school, I'll always remember your sense of humor and the impact that you had on me. Thank you for your dedication to teaching us a new language. Learning French was one of the best experiences. You always go the extra mile for us, whether it be helping with classwork, giving advice, or lending a jacket. After 5 years of French, I'm really gonna miss coming to your class every day. So thank you, Mr. Finnessey, for everything you've done for me and the encouragement and kindness you've shown me throughout the past 5 years. Enjoy your retirement.
Mr. Finnessey has impacted my life in so many ways. He not only helped me realize my passion for language at a young age, he also helped mentor me throughout all of high school. He has taught me so many life lessons and continues to inspire our class each day. He is the most selfless individual I've ever met. When I was having car troubles, he offered to help me get through it because I didn't know what to do. He's also gotten me plenty of books to help me learn French, and it's amazing. He's honestly the best person I've ever met in my whole life.
TFin, Finney, Mr. Finnessey. It's been a while, our relationship, you and I, from 7th grade to now in 12th grade, and we're both leaving the academy. It's been a good time. You've helped me a lot. I looked up to you as a role model, and you've taught me so much, and I appreciate it all, and you've put up with me, and you've helped me become better, become smarter. You've taught me lessons from how to get a credit card to how to survive college. It's good. It's been a fun time. I enjoy your class. I love coming to all of them. They provided me with a struggle. It taught me self-reliance and how to study and a lot of life skills I'm going to use, and it was because of you. I feel influenced a lot by your teachings and who you are and the lessons and the humor. Your humor is the best, and I love it. And I'm going to miss you, and I'm going to miss your class. I hope you do well, Mr. Finnessey.
Mr. Finnessey has been one of my favorite teachers of all time. For the past 5 years, French class has been filled with lots of life lessons, laughter, and support. It's always one of my favorite times of the day. Thank you for inspiring me and many others to be more selfless, caring, and passionate about what we do. I'm so happy that we get to graduate OFA with you. Happy retirement, Mr. Finnessey.
Thank you for being a great teacher, Mr. Finnessey. You never fail to make us laugh. Whether it be Mesopotamia or that one time you climbed under a desk or when you chased a fly during our final. Thank you for being a great teacher. We appreciate you. Happy retirement.
Mr. Finnessey, you've been my favorite teacher for the past 5 years, and I am extremely sad to be leaving your class. I think sometimes teachers ask themselves what it means to be a good teacher, and I hope that you've never worried that because you portray exactly that. You care not only about what you're teaching us, but about every student who walks through that door. French is my favorite class because I learn something new every day, whether it be a new French word, or I've learned many new English words as well, or also just something about you. I love hearing your stories, especially those about you and your wife. It was so adorable to listen to, and I loved every bit of it. Along with that, I can easily say that my absolute favorite part of the day is the conversations that I've had with you. I really appreciate that you take the time to ask me about things like running and how everything's going, and I really appreciate that you've let me walk in awkwardly late to class every day because I couldn't imagine having not taken French this past year because it's really been wonderful, and you're such a great teacher, and I really love being part of the class. You've been a role model for me for so many years, and you're honestly the best person that I know. I know that I would be excited if I could turn out to be just half the person that you are. You're really the best, Mr. Finnessey, and I'm going to miss you so much next year. Congrats on your retirement. I hope you have an awesome time. Thank you.
Merci, monsieur.